Okay, I'm Tim Verrelli. I'm now recently from Nashville, Tennessee, was previously from West Palm Beach, Florida. I've been judging USDAA since 1995. I run competitively with Giant Schnauzers and Scottish Terriers.
So you're here in Arizona, and we did a Grand Prix today.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about the course. What were some of the challenges that you presented?
Some of the challenges, well, the biggest challenge was I have a philosophy in agility that if you've bought yourself a sports car, you better know how to drive it. So all of my challenges were options at speed. Typically they all were presented as in this one where after you have a nice long run with your dog, you had to be into either a position where your dog had independent contacts and you could leave them to get ahead to handle certain things, or you had to run with them the entire way. I was very pleasantly surprised on this course that the majority of the handlers had really good contacts, so that there weren't the number of calls that I would have expected, specifically like after the A-frame with the handler pivoting in front to push them out around the pinwheel, or specifically at the end of the dog walk because they were rushing forward to be there for that slice jump before the tunnel. The majority of dogs all handled it perfectly well. It was the handlers that were out of position that caused the issues. It was also very interestingly enough, there were two portions on the course where the handlers had choices of wrapping one way or the other, specifically at obstacle 3 right after the seesaw, and then at obstacle 7 when they were pivoting around to go to the A-frame. And it was very interesting that it was evenly divided as to which way people went, and there wasn't a preference for big dogs or little dogs, as in everybody went every which way, and it was quite interesting. I had a couple of the normal little things that you saw that were different on that course, you know, handlers that ran past the last jump, or a handler that ran with a collar on, but nothing outlandish or really surprising that way.
I guess the biggest thing is, if you've never done Grand Prix before, what would be some advice that you'd give somebody?
Well, you have to know, like, the philosophy in USDAA, the difference between the different classes and the different tournaments, what we're looking for. You know, Master Standard obviously is, you know, when you're going from starters, which is just a basic obstacle performance, Advanced is a little more handling, and then Masters is options at speed. Where Grand Prix, we're really looking for a nice running, you know, fast-paced course where the dogs can move out. It's not overly intricate like, you know, in the Masters Challenge classes where you really have to babysit things, but your dogs must be able to do their job so that you can get where you need to be. That sets it apart from like steeplechase, where you're just flat out, let's see what you can do, and also perform the obstacles.
Was there any international handling moves in that course?
Yeah, it was more. There weren't any like true backsides on that course, as opposed to it. You know, everything was you were presented with slices or obstacles that were offset, and you had to handle that. Like specifically coming down the dog walk, you had that offset tunnel, and you also had the jump that was depressed, and you had to really be able to handle it, because if you had just had running contacts, you were not going to be able to control the dog over that and then handle the tunnel.
Okay. Anything else you want to add about the course, or?
What I love about coming out to the Southwest is the variety of dogs. It's not your typical dogs that you see every place else. You know, it's not just inundated with nothing but Border Collies or with Shelties and that. There's an Irish Setter that looked fantastic. The Doberman Pinscher looked great. A Boxer did very well on the course. I mean, there was just a lot of the other breeds, and it was just nice to see for a change.